Woo! What's up, everybody? Episode number 17, I believe, of the Camden Project. I had to hit the coffee. I don't know why I've been drinking coffee lately. So I had a different show in mind for episode number 17, but I ain't gonna lie. I had to do a totally different show. Um, I had to go another route. So I couldn't help but to see on social media people putting up interviews, whatever the heck, just posting their own little post about how Black History Month is racist. It divided the country, and some people even saying the classic, "Oh, white people don't have a Black or White History Month. Italian people don't have an Italian History Month," and so on. Put in whatever other group you want to put in, and how they came to the conclusion that Black History Month is racist, divisive, whatever you got, is beyond me. So I just wanted to talk about that. And even if any other group wanted to plead their case in the Senate and the House, and both of those groups passed the bill and the president signed off on it, then more power to you. I don't think black people would stand in the way of any group trying to solidify their history through the days of a month, whatever. Now, first, I want to just dig into, not even dig into, just a surface level of breaking down how Black History Month or Black History Week started. It was created in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson. I think the G is for Godwin or Goodwin, something like that. But it was the second week in February, being called Negro History Week, which was celebrated February 7th through February 13th. Now, this month was chosen because black people would celebrate the birthdays of two people that were considered to have the biggest impact on black history. Those two people were, and you guessed right if you said the 16th president, and everybody should know who that is. Don't go to Google and shit, type it in who's the 16th president. But Abraham Lincoln, if you guessed right, he was born on February 12th, and Mr. Frederick Afro Douglass, that's what I like to call him, born on Valentine's Day, February 14th. For those of y'all that's single and don't give a damn about Valentine's Day. So, I kind of see why they added Lincoln to the Negro History Week. He did die from gun violence, so too soon. I'm sorry. But some people do believe that Abraham Lincoln was black, or what's that? Melungeon. I don't know how to pronounce it. I know I graduated from college, but anywho, that's a different conversation. So Woodson, when you hear me say Woodson, I am referring to Carter G. Woodson. I'm not gonna keep saying that long ass name. He went to Harvard. I believe he got a PhD in history. I read this a while back. Just going off memory, I believe he got a PhD in history and was also the child of two former slaves. Now, back to Lincoln. Some people do believe that, yes, Lincoln freed the slaves with his proclamation in 1863. Damn, I am kind of smart. But I'll save that for another episode where we can really dig into that if that's something I feel like we need to talk about. And we all know Mr. Afro Douglass, and I am referring to Frederick Douglass, who was a national leader for the abolitionist movement and famous for his anti-slavery writing. And I know that is somebody listening right now and saying, "Didn't Frederick Douglass have a white wife?" And he did. I ain't gonna lie. Um, Douglass did have a white wife, Helen Pitts Douglass, and they was married for since 1884 to 1895. But don't forget, he did have a black wife, Anna Murray Douglass, and they were married from the longest 1838 or 1882. I don't know if she died before him. I can't remember that part. And to be honest, I think him having a white wife and a black wife was his way of giving a shout out to both his parents. Because Fred, he had a white father. Yeah, I think Fred had a white dad and a black mom. And I lost my spot on what I was. Yeah, he had a yeah, yeah, his mom, Harriet Bailey, she was forced to be his mama because she was a slave. And I believe she was owned by Frederick Douglass' father, Aaron Anthony. I think he was a slave owner of her. So he was torn in between which way to go. He didn't know what he wanted to do. I think, or it could have just been his way of sticking it to the establishment, literally and figuratively. Whatever. So now that I think about it, in them pictures, when you see Fred with his hair all out, most black people, if your mind kind of weird like mine, the first thing you think when you see the pictures, damn, Fred got some nappy ass hair. But that white side, it might have relaxed it a little bit, made it a little easier to comb. But shout out Fred. But anywho, in 1915, Mr. Woodson, he went to Washington D.C. He was out there participating in the national celebration of the nationwide emancipation movement, and it inspired his trip. And it also led him to create an organization to promote the study of black life and history. This will also lead him to, creating ASLA, which is the Association for the Study of African American History. So if you ever had to sit through that class in college like I did, shout out to him probably. And let me just drop a quote from Mr. Woodson. This is what he famously said. I cannot remember what book it's in. I want to say The Miseducation of the Negro, I believe. And I quote, "If race has no history, it is not worthwhile. Tradition, it becomes an unimportant factor in the world, and it stands of danger of being exterminated." And that's a quote I 100% agree with. Now let's move on towards the Great Depression. By 1929, officials from the State Department of Education from 48 states, most of the areas with a heavy black population, they would make Black History, Negro History Week. They would make it known to their teachers and pass out literature. Even in the black church, they were passing out literature. And this is back when the black church, actually meant something to the black community and wasn't just a place to collect money and then turn their back on you when you get into a tough spot. But yeah, that's a conversation y'all not ready to have. But we'll have that on a different day. Yeah, I said it. But Black History, it was first proposed by black educators and the black students at Kent State University to be for the month, not the beginning. And back in February 1969, I think a day later or a year later, one of them, it was celebrated at Kent State from January 2nd to February 28th. So they try to throw them extra 2 days on the like, hey, we need a real whole month. But yeah, that was celebrated in 1970, 6 years later or whatever. 1976, President Gerald Ford recognized Black History Month during the U.S. bicentennial. And something I found out that I had no idea about. Black History Month is also celebrated by Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and the Netherlands. I never in my life knew that. But America and Canada, we obviously celebrated in February. UK, Ireland, Netherlands, they celebrated in October. Okay? I don't know if that's because they think Halloween in October, black motherfuckers gonna be in masks trying to rob your ass. I think Germany also celebrated as well, but I know they gotta be weird hearing somebody, hey, happy Black History. I don't even know how to do an accent for them people. I'm sorry. But they gotta be funny to hear with the accent coming. They gotta be funny. Now somebody told me, a very smart, educated person told me that Mr. Woodson was also married to a white woman. To me, I don't really care about that. That's not in quotations an issue to me. And I tried to research it, and everything I read showed that he wasn't married at all. So I don't know. And another thing, hold on. Another thing, bro. Whoever is responsible for making these statues, can y'all please try harder to make these statues look like the person? I was looking at a statue of Mr. Woodson, and they had him looking like damn Fred Sanford. And y'all also need to do over that damn Dwayne Wade statue. Cause y'all tripping with that one. They got my man on the statue looking like he was giving birth to Zaya. Hey, shout out D Wade. That's also a conversation for another day. Now, one of the other reasons, and I'm trying to be serious, one of the other reasons Black history was also created was it was due to other groups attempting to get rid of, undermine, or even just flat out create falsehoods about Black history. I think Mr. Woodson never had any intention to divide or kind of throw it in the face of any other group. And actually, when you think about it, every other holiday, if it's not about a white person, is damn sure not about a Black person. So that's something we really have to be realistic about before we just get online and just start saying, oh, it's racist. Now, I do like the answer. And shout out to my boy Nate. That's my boy Nate back there playing. He's a Black poet, author. I think Nate might be white too. I'm just playing Nate. Shout out Nate. Now, I do like the answer that I hear some people say. Why do we have a Black History Month? Well, we should just have American history. And that's an answer I can appreciate because we all are Americans with some type of American history or impact on the American history. Now, when I thought about it as to why we should have a Black History Month, the answer, every time I looked up something, it would lead to another answer. And it's deeper than just, hey, Black History Month. But if we didn't have people like Eli Whitney and Thomas Edison, two men that both been credited with stealing Black inventions, you know, if we also weren't considered 3/5 of a human, that would be a great answer. Imagine that, man. 3/5 of a person, of a human. What are the other two fractions? What are those? You know, because you were considered a tool. You got a hammer right there. You got a screwdriver, and you got a Black person. All tools. It's all tools. So you got to think about that. Another thing I want everybody to think about is it was illegal, against the law, for a Black person to know how to read or write. Think about that. If you know how to read and write, you could be whipped. Think about that. Also, you had to have a hall pass or a white person walking with you to move about whatever area you were in. Think about that, man. Because most of y'all would have got y'all ass whipped back then. Because in high school, y'all damn sure ain't have no hall pass. So, to me, when any group can fight through all those barriers, and I only named a few, of a minuscule amount, you know, to just show some of the issues or some of the setbacks that Black people had and why a month is deserving. So I think any group should have a time slot during a month to be celebrated if they had to fight through just some of those barriers. And when you think about it, even just sitting in your home with your family members, no matter what race you are, and telling the history of your family is a form of whatever history, whatever race or ethnicity. That's a form of, you know, your history for your group. But let's forget all that. This is what I really want to say. People remembering their history isn't racist, especially when you know the history of Blacks in America. I think it's a sad ploy to mask over the slavery, racism, redlining, hate speech, mass killing that all other groups have perpetrated against us. And the fact that it's an entire month that makes all people have to remember how they treated us is the real reason people want to do away with Black History Month. During Black History Month, there isn't a mass firing of any group of people. Nobody is forced to go sit at the back of a bus or a plane. No black person goes up to anyone as they're walking around their neighborhood saying, "Hey, I never saw you before. You live around here? Let me see your ID." Or no black person shoots you as you jog through a neighborhood with a shotgun. No one follows you in a car as you walk home on the phone with your friend, as you carry Skittles and your favorite drink, and kill you, gets away with it, hang out with other, hate groups, and act as if you're a hero by saying to another white person, "Hey, I killed Trayvon Martin. That was me." To where that white dude looks at you and say, "You're proud about that?" I had to take a moment of silence just to let that sink in. But to my black people, black history should only be used to inspire people to strive for greatness and live a better life than your parents. And when I say that, it's not any of that Obama hope and change bullshit. Then you do nothing, but really try to make something out of yourself, because no matter how many characters we had the years before us, we got a long way to go. Black people only own 2.7% of businesses in the United States. Stop getting that dumbass business management degree if you don't have a business already, or business waiting for you to graduate so you can run. Approximately 50% of black homes in the U.S. are single parent homes. Think about that. 1 out of 2 homes has one parent in it. I got a lot of kids. I couldn't imagine raising them all by myself. I couldn't imagine it. And to me, the single parent homes is one of the main factors that led to more than 42% of our youth going to jail. 42%. So now that's almost 1 out of every 2 black households where one of the kids in there is probably going to go to jail. Also, it's believed that 1 out of every 5 black men will go to jail in their lifetime, as compared to 1 out of 6 Hispanic men, and a huge difference of 1 out of 17 white men that will go to jail. 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5. Test out that theory. If you see 5 men together, ask if one of them been to jail. And let me give you a few more numbers that Mr. Woodson probably never thought about. In 2020, 60.9, pretty much 61% of the 20,000 people killed by gun violence in the U.S. were black. So on average, 37 black people are killed with a gun every day. Now I see why we need Black History Month, because if we keep those numbers up, we'll need somebody to tell our history for us. I don't want us as black people to get caught up with Black History Month that we forget we still have a present to live and a future to write. Maybe we do need to get rid of Black History Month so we can create new great leaders in a new Black history phase. And not one that's full of football and basketball players and rappers. I know we created all music genres, but we come from a great line of thinkers, Carter G being one of them. Maybe we could use our brain for something else besides being the entertainment for everyone. And, try to find a real solution to all of our issues. And this was just a small amount of issues that we have. And not just walking on the street with a sign. That's not going to do anything. Instead of screaming, fuck the police, how about becoming one? What better way to change a system you believe is corrupt? And that was just the biggest system I believe that many people have the most immediate issue with, whatever reason they have it for. I'm not even going to dig into that. But what better way to get into a system that somebody might believe is corrupt and make it better? If you think your community doesn't need a white cop patrolling in it, well, get an application and be the black face, the Hispanic face, the Asian face that you want to see. And that can go for any field, not just police officer, but that's just, like I said, the biggest uh, group that came to mind to me. Don't just rely on others to provide you with everyday needs. And I hope nobody took the things I was saying as offensive or whatever. I wasn't trying to offend anybody, but if you did, good. I hope you use that to benefit the community, whatever community you come from, not just black, not just white, not just Asian, not just Hispanic, but any group of people. I usually try not to talk about things like this because it's kind of touchy and people are sensitive. For the past 15 years, people have been living under, I'm not going to say under a rock because you haven't, but we've been living in a weird phase where people try to mix up the truth and make things that shouldn't be. They try to make it that. I'm not going to speak about that. That'll be a different episode. But listen, y'all subscribe on YouTube, The Campbell Project. I'm Big Twin. Add me on Facebook. I'm back on Facebook, JDave, JAYDAVE. You will see the Campbellton Project logo. What else I got? I don't forgot. It done slipped my mind. Yeah, if you want to advertise, hit me up on the cashapp. You can advertise on there. If you ain't got no money, you broke, hit me up anyway. I still advertise. Ain't no thing. Add me on Instagram too, Biggtwin871. That's what it is. 2 G's in that big. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. This episode number 17. Thank y'all for listening. I'm gone.